Hi, my name is Carly Stallworth. I chose Disrupt Racism as my virtual community service because, as a young 19-year-old black woman in America, I am very exposed to racism. I grew up in a majority white town. I grew up in Georgia, in like middle Georgia, and where I'm from, like, there's a lot of white people and they can be very insensitive to certain topics. We've had at my high school, we had a baseball team that pretty much put white cloths over their faces and did like whipping sounds and stuff. So I've had my fair share of racism for sure growing up. My family is predominantly from Alabama, and specifically Montgomery, Alabama, Tuskegee, Alabama, where all like national figures are from and do and stuff like that. I have a lot of friends that are different races. I have friends that are Asian, African, Indian, and I brought some of these friends to talk about their different experiences in racism. I have my friend Jihu at the bottom. She's from South Korea. She came here in 7th grade. And I have my friend Nyla at the top. She's black, obviously, but they're just here to speak about their different experiences of racism. Jihu first.
Hey, I'm Jihu, and I want to talk about my racism experience in states that I've experienced. So, firstly, when I came here, I visited my middle school, and I was walking around, and people would call me, "Oh, is she Chinese?" Ni hao. Like, they just assumed that I was Chinese because I was Asian, and I'm pretty sure I was the only Asian except one person in that whole middle school. Yeah, so they were not familiar of like Asian, I guess. And they would ask me, I would tell them I'm Korean, and they would ask me if I'm North Korean or South Korean. And I would tell them I'm South Korean, and they would be like, "Oh, can you go to North Korea?" And I would be like, "Nope." Yeah, that's my experience. Thank you.
Jihu has we've been around Jihu since 7th or 8th grade when she first came, so we've definitely like seen how her like how she speaks. And now when she first came, she really wasn't able to speak English and stuff, and she's very much progressed in everything. She goes to Mercer University. If you don't know what that is, it's Macon, Georgia. She's very intelligent, very smart, and she is definitely expanded from what we first met you as, and I'm very proud of her. So yeah, that's you.
Hi, I'm Nyla, and I feel like people are like, sometimes they can say racist things without like meaning it or even trying to, or like, I feel like it's just become like little things have become like so normalized. Like, for example, I know that like, people have just assumed things about me, like going into areas where, I was at a restaurant and, me and my family, we were the only black people in there, and I mean, we were together, but they like assumed that we were together, which you shouldn't really do. And I feel like people just like assume a lot of stuff and like think it's okay because they didn't mean to be racist. So I feel like small things like that have really become normalized in society, and I definitely think it's something that should be fixed. So yeah.
And Nyla also has a significant other boyfriend. His name is Macaulay. He's originally from America, but his both of his parents are from Sudan. Is that right? Okay, they're from Sudan. They're Sudanese. He's been to Sudan multiple times. He speaks their language, and he has, had his stories, or his parents has had his stories that they told them about them having a hard time coming here from a different country, and obviously being racially profiled in the town that we grew up in. Um, I think it's very important for people to know that like not everybody's like the same race, or not everybody, like, you can't just really assume that about somebody until you really get to know them. We have two friends, Tambi and Beatty, and they're both Indian, right? Okay, they're both Indian, but they are different religions, and people kind of just like combine them into the same just because of their ethnicity, and that's also not right. Like, we've been through so much, like, we've seen so much racism just because us specifically have not been like been apparent in racism. Like, we haven't like gone through a lot of racism ourselves. We've seen it firsthand with our eyes, even though we both have been called the N-word by white people multiple times. It's just very like very bad, and I feel like this community service that I did opened my eyes and really like helped me realize that like not everybody is very educated on stuff like this, and I would love to like be able to speak my mind and tell people like, yo, like racism is still apparent. Like even like when most people think about racism, they think of back to like the 1960s and all that stuff, like thinking of back in the day when racism is very much still apparent now in time. It's just more covered up. But with the social media that we have now, it's being very widespread and very talked about, which is very good because now people are able to like see that like that's not just old stuff, like it's still very apparent and it needs to be talked about, it needs to be spread. So I would love to let people like see this amount of community service that is being done and refer them to do this community service because it's very insightful. I think that everybody could grow and learn from this. Thank you.